everyone, Monica Laurette here, and I wanted to bring you guys a book unhaul from my shelves because on February 20th, so in a few days from posting this video, it is going to be Clean Out Your Shelves Day. So I wanted to do a video in honor for that, and it just gave me an excuse to kind of go through my books, get out ones that I'm just not going to read or not going to get to, and so let's go through those. We sort of have three piles of books to be going through. So there are regular books, I guess I should say, so more fiction, non-fiction-y books. And then there are school books. All of them are books that I either got for free while in college or somebody got me because of my French major. And then the third pile is like maybe/kid books. So let's do that one first because it's the smallest. 3 books. I know one of them, this one I got while I was in college. My language department, every once in a while the professors would go through like the shelves in their offices or just books that they had that they did not want anymore, they didn't use anymore, and they'd put them on a table in the like area where the classrooms are and just put a sign going free. And I used to raid that table all the time. But I got the French Civil Code from 1804. And like, I don't think I need this because one, it's over 200 years old. I am sure their civil code has changed. Like my sister was saying, it is like a tiny piece of history. So I don't know if I'm going to need to keep this just to have on my shelf. So this is a maybe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it at the very bottom of my shelf where I can't see the spine or the cover. And the next time I do an unhaul, I'll pull it out and we'll see. The next 2 are children's books, and I know I purchased these. I purchased these with the intent to read them to my nephew, and I never did because they were in my room the whole time. That is, we have, I think, The Brave Little Tailor, Le Brave Petit Tailleur, and it doesn't even have an author on here. Just says JP. Who wrote this? I'm almost positive some of the pages are missing too. But it's literally like the story is written on the back cover too. So it's a cute little book. I am just 100% certain there are pages missing. We'll probably look up the actual story to see if I'm missing pages and still try and read it to my nephew because even though he's 6, he only knows English. And then the next French kids book is Gaston le Cochon, so Gaston the pig. And this one, we actually wrote my nephew's name in, or my mom did, because that's her handwriting. This one, I doubt there are pages missing. Some cute little artwork in there. But, so I think I may read these to my nephew, to see if he wants to keep them, and then whenever he wants to read them, he can tell me. But yeah, so this and Taya, I'm also going to have as a maybe just for right now because they did have a purpose when I bought them and I just haven't used them for that purpose. And I still want to. Now we are going to get into the more school educational related books. And these are all French as well. Because most of the books on those free tables from my language department were educational books. And not a fiction book. It's just these ones. I have my French textbooks that I went to school with. I still have all of those, I'm pretty sure. I have a giant binder that I have kept with worksheets and papers from my 8 years of learning French in high school and university. So I feel like I don't need these books. The first one actually has a broken spine. And I think it was like recovered So like it's not the original cover. This is a French grammar book for schools and colleges. I know my grammar for the most part, and I have stuff that I can review my grammar on. The next one is Toujours Français. This one does have its cover. And so again, it is just a French textbook. I don't need this for the grammar rules. I know my grammar. I know the rules. So we're gonna give this one away. This is Le Français pour les jeunes. Pour les jeunes. Wait. Jaune is yellow. So, Le Français pour les jeunes. And it tells the story, the life of Madame Souris, or Mouse. Right there. Is it mouse or rat? I want to say it's mouse. Probably wrong. So it does have, you know, cute illustrations, but this is really to like teach young children. Perhaps I'll throw this in the pile for my nephew, because he may like the pictures. So the next one is essentially the third one in a group of books. I think it's Becherel is the company, and this one is for grammar. And so again, I don't know why I have so many grammar books. I mean, this one definitely is the most updated of the three. So if I did keep one of them, this would be the one that I would keep. But like I said, I have grammar sheets, I have grammar stuff. So we are going to give this one away. Although now that I'm holding it, this is going to go in the maybe pile with the civil code. I changed my mind, alright? So this one is a manual for studying French literature. And so flipping through it, it like goes over specific authors and different literature stuff. And I'm not studying French literature, at least anymore. I never used this for a class. This was another one of those free books. I'm going to give this one away. Maybe I'll try and see if I can find some French teachers online who would want something like this. So the next book that I'm going to be unhauling is mainly because it's the second edition and it was published in 2006. So if I had wanted to read this book, I'd probably want the most updated version. So that's the only reason. But it is The French Way, and this is by Ross Steele. I believe the last name would be pronounced. And so it is the keys to the behavior, attitudes, and customs of the French. If I ever do make it to France, I would probably just want to get the most updated of this, because some of the things in here could have changed since 2006. Now let us get into the actual like fiction books that I will be unhauling from my shelves. The first two are books that I've actually very recently read. I read them at the end of 2022. You can see them in my wrap-up. But that is going to be The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield is the first one. I just did not love this book. My favorite part was really that she was a twin, and so like that was a big heavy focus in the book. But besides that, not a book that I want to keep and read again and again. The next one that I have also reread recently was Sing Me Forgotten by Jessica S. Olsen, which was a Phantom of the Opera retelling. And I gave it a decent rating. It's just, it wasn't my favorite. It didn't feel Phantom enough for me, I guess. So I'm going to let somebody else take this book and love it. The next one I'm giving away is probably one that if some people watch this, they're going to be very shocked that, like, one, I have not read this book, and two, that I'm just going to DNF it without reading it. But that is Aragon, and this is by Christopher Paolini. And it's just, I'm never going to read this book, most likely. I've had it in my possession for years now. I just don't want to read it anymore. I think I got this from a library sale that my local library did, where they were giving away out of circulation and discarded books. And so I was like, oh, and I can get the rest of the... I'm not going to read this. I love dragons, but I think I'm just going to skip on this series. Maybe I'll watch the movie, though I know that is a very heated topic with this fandom. But I'm just not going to read it. So I'm going to let someone else read it. Next book is actually one that I DNF'd not last year, but the year before in 2021. Sky Without Stars by Jessica Brody and Joanne Randell. And this is a retelling of Les Mis in space. I really wanted to like it. I love the Les Mis movies. I've never read the book. This is one that I had wanted to unhaul a while ago, but I was kind of on the fence about, so I just put it down on my shelf as a maybe. And I haven't really thought of the book since. I wasn't the biggest fan while I was reading it, so I don't know if it's just I'm not a fan of this book and the writing, or I'm just not as big of a fan of Les Mis as I thought. But I can't see myself picking up this book and reading it anytime soon, so I will be unhauling it. And if I do want to read it in the future, if all of a sudden I'm like, you know what, I think now is the time I want to read it, I will just buy it again. Next one is The Pact by Jodi Picoult, and I have had this book since I was in high school and I have never read it. I mainly got it because one of my friends wanted to buddy read it with me. She sadly passed away in 2016, so I just have not wanted to read this because I can't buddy read it with her, and I have other memories of her that I can hold on to of things that we actually did instead of something we never got around to. So I think letting this go will, one, kind of be like letting go of trauma, and also letting go of a memory I just don't need anymore. Next is another book that I have read, and that is Sweet Francais by Irene Nemirovsky. And this is a book that I read. It was supposed to be like 5 books or 5 parts. It's only 2. There's a whole history with this book of Irene, the author, was trying to write these books during World War II, and she did become a victim of World War II, which is why we only have 2 parts, but her daughters were able to take them and put them together. I don't remember anything from this book. I really don't. I remember one scene where a bunch of guys like threw rocks through like an abandoned building. That's really all I remember of the book. I remember liking it. I do remember liking the book. It's just I'm not going to read it again. So I figured this piece of history can find another new reader and another new shelf to sit on. Next one is a book I've had on my shelf for a little bit as well, that I also like, Sky Without Stars. Had it as a maybe for a while, and that is Jacoby by William Ritter. I think it's supposed to be reminiscent of Jack the Ripper. I'm not 100% sure. It has to do with a serial killer in the 1890s. There's magic involved, supernatural beings. I'm not as interested as some of the other books on my shelf, so we're going to give it away. The only thing I'm sad about is that the second book is orange. So it's like, But if I'm not really interested in the first book, I'm not going to read it just so I can get an orange book. The next book is one that I read in high school, and I haven't had the book since high school. We were reading borrowed copies in high school, and I found a copy at a thrift store years later, but I have not tried to reread it again, nor do I think I'm going to read the 12 book series that is accompanied with it. But that is Wizard's First Rule by Terry Goodkind. The class I read this for was fantasy literature, and this book, we were focusing on the hero's journey with it, that when we were working on the hero's journey, this is the book that we read. I remember I was not the biggest fan of the book. I liked it. My favorite part of the book was, I don't even remember her name. I think it was Deanna. She was my favorite part of the book for some reason. She's the only character's name I remember. I think I'm just going to take this off my shelf because I'm not going to read it again. So yeah. The next book, I'm not 100% sure what this book is. All I know is that it's about Louis the 14th, right? Yeah. Trying to remember Roman numerals. So Louis the 14th. I think it's like a biography sort of book. I'm not sure. I don't care about Louis the 14th that much. His period of time in France is not my favorite time period that I've ever learned about. Like, yeah, he's the sun god or the sun king for Versailles. That's why there's so many suns in Versailles. But he's not my favorite time period in French history. So, goodbye, Louis. Now, the last book we'll be unhauling is also a book that I read last year, and that is The Guest Cat by Takashi Hirare. And I did like this book. It's not that I did not like this book. I feel like this is the type of book that you let it find its way to other people's homes to inspire other people instead of just letting it collect dust on a shelf. So I think I will let it continue with that journey. So those were the 14 books that I am officially unhauling off of my shelf, and the books that I'm going to keep for right now, whether to read to my nephew or to just think about until my next unhaul. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope this inspires you as well to clean out your shelves or just clean them up with the Clean Your Bookshelves Day coming up. But let me know a book that you've been thinking about unhauling for a while, but you just haven't yet, and what the reason is. Because there's still books on my shelf that I have those. So maybe one day we'll see those in another unhaul. But until then, have a great day. Aviento.